Hello and welcome to the 15-minute show, part of the Arsenal Therapy podcast. I'm Adam Keys and I'm your host. Today I'm joined by Monty, who you can find on Twitter at Monty Official. So thanks for joining us, Monty. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you, Adam. Thank you for having me on.
So yeah, it's great to have you. So as always, we're going to start with some quick fire questions
hmm
just to get our brains warmed up and get us thinking. So are you ready to go?
Go ahead, hit me with a best shot.
So yeah, first up, how much will Arsenal fetch for Flo Balogun this summer?
I reckon 45 million, five add-ons, so about 50 total.
Sounds good. How much will Arsenal get for Nicholas Pepe, if anything, this summer?
Around 20, 25 million.
So yeah, very ambitious there. Out of 10, how much does Declan Rice look like he belongs at Arsenal?
Mate, I feel like he's been at Arsenal for a while. He's more of an Arsenal fan than most. He just keeps smiling, this guy.
100%. And where will Kieran Tierney end up this summer?
It's either Villa or Newcastle, realistically.
And how much would you accept for Nuno Tavares this summer?
20 million.
Perfect. So let's start on the Nuno Tavares story because that was one that broke yesterday and has been rumbling on for a while. We know that he doesn't have a future at Arsenal. So 𝗔𝗙𝗖 reported that he wouldn't be traveling to the States with the team, and the primary focus was him sorting out a move away. So the fee that's being mooted right now is 15 to 20 million, and Kaya has reported that there's huge interest in him. This is a guy that caught the eye with a lot of people at Marseille last season. So, where do you think he's going to end up?
Personally, I feel like he'll end up in like either Sevilla. I mean, there is some interest from Premier League teams like West Ham, like you said. I would like to see him in the Prem. Um, But honestly, I don't know. My gut just says he'll end up in Europe. I just see that more of him. Like he came out better in Liga than he did at Premier League. That's for sure.
Yeah, although it is worth noting with him, he had very, very little experience before coming to Arsenal. We bought an
True.
extremely raw player. So that year abroad will definitely do him some good. He is a player I could see at West Ham just because Moyes likes that kind of unconventional fullback that he can turn into a striker or again a midfielder that he can turn into an attacker and so on. He did a lot of that at Everton. We've seen it with Antonio at West
Mm.
Ham. And we've talked before in this show about Nuno and said that the two of us both felt that he was more of a winger than a
Winger,
fullback.
100%. I mean, Ramsdale said he had the most powerful shot on the team.
Yeah, he kind of has that much less technically gifted Bale kind of vibe about him, where that
hmm
really powerful burst and big shot. So yeah, let's see what happens with him. But the next one, Nicholas Pepe, I'm keen to pick your brains on this because you seem very optimistic with 20 million. So James Baines reported that there is interest from it's a mid-tier Saudi team, but there is a big difference in salary expectations right now, and Arsenal would be willing to accept a small fee to get him off the books. But there's also whispers that Arsenal could terminate his contract, as the club want is 7.2 million salary off the books for the final year. So,
hmm
so what are your thoughts on that? Obviously, you kind of
Yeah,
keep
I've seen
quiet
that the
from it.
Saudi Arabian teams. To be fair, quite a lot of the Saudi Arabian teams have been adding quite a lot of like decent quality. To be fair, the league's almost as good as the Liga. But now with the players, especially Pepe, I can see us getting a fee for him. Optimistic at 20. Um, but what I see is that he will have to sort of take a hit on his salary. Whether he's going to want to do that, I think that'll be the biggest issue. But the fact is, he hasn't credited enough skill, or he hasn't done enough to credit being paid that much. So maybe the Saudi teams can pay him a little bit more than say a European team. Um, but yeah, I can definitely see us getting a fee for him, or we'll maybe use him as like a leeway for another player maybe.
Yeah, he's one I don't really understand why there's so little interest in. Obviously, there is the salary, but at the same time, he's not a bad player. And if you're a transitional team, he's one of the, well, I wouldn't say one of the best, but he's up there with those kind of wingers that you want in your team for a breakaway because he's got a great left foot. He's a pretty good finisher. He's one of the most clinical finishers in the Arsenal team, but
Mm.
he's not a possession-based player. He doesn't want the ball to his feet. His weaknesses are very clear. His strengths are very clear, but he's someone that I would have thought there's plenty of teams could do a lot worse than signing Nicola Pepe this summer. So yeah, let's see where he ends up. The big story that I think will rumble on all summer for Arsenal is Flo Balogun. He played against Nuremberg the other night, missed 2 open goals, but he looked very, very sharp. He looked strong, direct, and there have been some whispers that Inter put a bid in yesterday, although they haven't been confirmed by any credible sources. 𝗔𝗙𝗖 today are reporting that they believe Arsenal's 50 million stance would be softened and he would go for less. However, again, James Benge reported that Inter's bid would likely fall short of the 50 million, but they could make it up with either a sell-on or a buyback clause. So you said 45 plus 5, which in my opinion is a more than fair fee for a player at this level. Where do you think he's going to end up?
I think Inter is probably a good shout. It'd definitely be one of the Milans. I know AC Milan were sort of looking at him earlier on in the season. Chelsea as well want to get involved. So it's the ball is very much in our court, whether Inter wanna. I mean, I'd rather sell to Inter or AC Milan over Chelsea because I do rate Balogun as a player. I just don't think he fits our team. Like as a character and as a personality, he's got very pick me mentality.
Yeah.
And I just prefer. I think Edin Nketiah is better. I mean, he's can prove him. I just think he's better, honestly. Like all good, Balogun scoring 21 goals, but so did Lacazette. He scored 27. So yeah, don't overhype the Liga. That's all I'm going to say because we know full damn well Lacazette can never score over 20 goals in a season. So yeah, I'm not too hyped by him. He's a good player. He's a very good player, and I think he'll go to like Inter Milan, make them better. He'll definitely score 20 goals again in the season. He could go to Chelsea. He would probably bag like 15. I don't see him as a 20+ striker in the Prem though. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I really like Balogun. I don't particularly think Nketiah is good enough for Arsenal, despite wanting him to be. But I'd be open to selling both of them, and I've said that before, and bringing someone in to replace the two of them. Benge also reported that there is interest from Brighton, Palace, and West Ham. The good thing about that is, yeah, well, the good thing from Arsenal's perspective from that is it pushes the price up. Let's face it, there's very few goal scorers on the market nowadays. And this is a player, if you're a transitional team especially, and you've got a really direct, strong striker, he's a dream for you. So I do agree with you with the way he fits into our team. And one of the things I noticed against Nuremberg, whilst he looked great in terms of like running through, the minute players got the ball, Balogun was on his bike through the middle. When he came deep to like link up play and do what Jesus does, his touch clearly isn't at the same level. His awareness of space, players around him, he's very much a striker. And despite people saying Arsenal need a 20-25 goal a season striker, you have to look at what that does to the rest of the team. And there's very few players that can play and do what Arteta wants whilst also scoring that number of goals. And you have to look at the impact it has on your Martinellis and Sakas and so on.
100%.
So yeah, so one of the other stories that we've discussed, touched on already, is Kieran Tierney. So that one's gone a bit quiet recently. I think at the start of the window we expected Newcastle to come in fairly quickly with a bid. It seemed nailed on, that's where he was going to go. The Villa rumours started after that. But where do you think I guess a better question is, when do you think he'll move, if he does at all?
I think if he does move, it'll be when we get a replacement. I don't think the board is dumb enough to release a player when we don't have someone in for cover. I mean, yes, Tomiyasu can do left back and whatnot, but we need an actual cover who's going to be fit. I mean, with the with Newcastle, I mean, he would suit Newcastle. He's very much like a Kieran Trippier, same sort of style of player, runs down the wings. It'd be great for them. But I think Aston Villa is probably more reasonable, just because obviously Unai Emery was the guy who brought him in the first place. He loves Kieran Tierney, knows how to use him, and we saw some of the best of Kieran Tierney under Unai Emery when he was at Arsenal. So I can see that happening. I mean, the interest for, like, don't get me wrong, Kieran Tierney is probably one of the best left backs in the league. We know that, like, he is, but he just, to our system, he's not as best suited as 𝗔𝗙𝗏, because 𝗔𝗙𝗏 is a lot more technically savvy and has a lot better ball control in close spaces, so he can work into midfield. He can work up through the middle. Whereas Kieran Tierney is just a straight, get him down the wing. He's got I think he's still the fastest in sort of the short sprints in the team. So over 20, 30 yards, he's still the fastest in the team. That's what he is as a player. He's going around the outside, cuts back in. Whereas we don't really play that anymore. We need that sort of utility player, versatile player that can come inside, doesn't feel uncomfortable. And every time I see Tierney come on for us and I see him doing that inside role that 𝗔𝗙𝗏 does, it just doesn't look as fluid. It doesn't look as normal. And that's not disrespect to Tierney. It's just trying to put a round peg in a square hole. And I still rate him highly. I think he's one of the best left backs in the league. Full stop. And if we do get a fee for him, it should be near the 40-50 million, 100%.
Yeah, I'm exactly
100%.
the same. I really rate Kieran Tierney. I think he's class. He's always given 100%. The issue is exactly what you've just said. We no longer play to Kieran Tierney's strengths, and Kieran Tierney's strengths don't fit what we do. It kind of exposes all his weaknesses and showcases none of his strengths. So it's not a great mix. But I am interested just on your point of a replacement, because I personally don't think we would replace Tierney if we sold him. I think that Kiwior or Tomiyasu. Yeah, I think the two of them would cover that role, and then we'd essentially go in with seven defenders that can all play across numerous positions. And then we've got someone like Raul Walters as well, and Sousa, that again could be cut back up.
Yeah. I see a potential project. I can see a project. Like an 18, 19-year-old, maybe from like a championship team. Or I can see one of them stepping in, or maybe like another deal like Austin Trusty or something like that.
Yeah, I guess that's definitely an option. And finally, just to wrap up, we are in the States at the minute. Well, not us personally, but the team are in the States. And I guess the first thing I wanted to talk about, Declan Rice, we spoke about him right at the start of the show. Hasn't stopped smiling since he's arrived. But I'm guessing every Arsenal fan and everyone watching this video has watched the content on Arsenal Player and watched his interviews. For me personally, one of the things that struck me was his maturity and the aura he had around him. We see these all the time when a player arrives at the new club and they kind of walk in, they look almost a bit timid, sheepish, or kind of a nonchalant appearance where it's like, oh, this is cool, like I want to get in the training ground. He seemed to embrace everything Edu told him. He was asking questions, and he felt like a captain walking in. And so what were your first impressions of Rice, just from the video and what we've seen so far?
I think it was similar to you. I mean, the thing I noticed was the way he carried himself, the assertiveness, the confidence in himself. Like you said, I think with like sort of Jurrien Timber, you could see in the interview who's a little bit maybe nervous, or yes, it is a big club. Whereas Declan Rice is like, yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm here. Just get me in there. Like, I just want to start like packing the league. Like, let's just go. You know. So no, I like it. I do like it. And I think Rice is going to elevate us. And I think Mikel Arteta's comments about him that he can be our lighthouse was sort of spot on, really, because he's there to put out the fires. He's there to highlight the warnings, and that's what he's going to be. He's just going to be there, just bang on there when we need him, bang over there. And I think his calmness, I mean, I've watched him at West Ham. He's just so calm on the ball. He's so astute as well. Like, he learns so quick. And so I don't think like he'll feel out of depth. I feel like he'll come into that training ground and people will be like, Jesus Christ. So I mean, like, he's pretty good, isn't he? Not in case of like we get like and people are like, oh wow, the quality is really good here. He's like, do you know what I mean? He's up there and people are like, bloody hell, like he's good, isn't he? So I can feel like he will elevate the team around him, because imagine going up against Declan Rice in training. Do you know what I mean? This guy is like, do you know what he reminds me of as a player? He's like a much better version of Gilberto Silva. No discredit to do with Gilberto Silva, but the way he used to just intercept balls, like he used to just come out of nowhere, he would take the ball off you. That's why it was called the invisible wall. Like, he just come in, bang, snatch it off you. Come over there, bang, snatch it off you. And just come in there, and like all of a sudden he's got the ball and he's like touched it 3 to 4 times. He's kicked it upfield, and you're like, oh, what? Like, do you know what I mean? You're like, Jesus.
Do you not find, if you look online, there almost seems to be a section of Arsenal fans that are completely underrating how good Rice is? I've seen people like saying about Rice's learning curve and everything. It's like, this is a £105 million player. Now, this guy has played right through to the final of Euro 2020 when he was very young and was still very much developing. He was one of England's standout players at the World Cup, along with Saka and Bellingham. This is a guy that's just led a very, very average West Ham team to the Europa Conference. And I would say almost single-handedly dragged them out of the relegation zone.
That goal in the final was crazy.
So, yeah, it's this is a guy that I completely agree. This is going to elevate us. And I think one of the most interesting comments, alongside being called a lighthouse, which was just so Arteta, is he said about he's got the physical qualities that we've lacked for a while. I thought that was quite a poignant statement from Arteta, because it's obviously Thomas Partey is a very big, strong 6, but he's not I've never seen him as a powerful player, in the sense when he can run, he can carry, he's got these lovely light feet, and he can move the ball forward. But Declan Rice is like a battering ram. Once he gets going, he's really difficult to stop. And the other side is this guy never gets injured. So when you put that together and you look at kind of where he's at right now and the ceiling that he's got, we're talking about a player that could be one of the best, if not the best, in the world in his position.
No, 100%. He's world class. He's genuinely a world class player. I mean, I would say we have three world class players at the moment on our squad. There's loads of potentials to be, but I mean, Saka, 𝗔𝗙𝗖 and Rice have got to be in that conversation. I think Martinelli is just he is very much
close, and Saliba as well. I think
exactly.
where we'll see those two, I guess, become that genuine world class is when they start playing regularly at international level like the others are now. But we will wrap up the show with that. So thank you to everyone that has joined us today, and make sure to tune in for the main pod. So we've got a very special guest coming on. We have got the one and only Mr. 𝗔𝗙𝗧𝗬 joining us. So make sure you tune in for that. So you can find it on Apple and Spotify, Google Pods, and that's the Arsenal Therapy Pod. So thanks for joining, guys, and it's been great. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and we will see you again on Thursday.